Hello, all you beautiful people out there, and welcome to my channel. If you're new, why don't you go down, hit the subscribe button, and ring the bell so you know when I come out with new episodes. For my fans and subscribers, welcome back. You are the lifeblood of this channel. Today's topic, Emergence of Israel, Judah in the 7th century. Let's go! Writing and literacy flourished in the 7th century, although we find some literacy from the 10th to the 8th centuries in Judah. The bulk of this corpus reflects only economic and administrative activities. This trend does continue in the 7th century. Archaeologists have found what are known as the Khirbet Bet lay inscriptions on the walls of a burial cave dating to the 7th to 6th century near Lachish. The style used in these inscriptions bears striking resemblance to that of the Pentateuch, Deuteronomistic history, and the Psalms. Additionally, 2 amulets were found in a tomb dating to the late 7th century near Jerusalem. The engravings found on them were almost identical to that of the biblical tradition. The largest body of ostraca from this time can be found at Lachish and Arad. Lachish had 23 ostraca, which turned out to be letters that were found in a room of a gatehouse that has been definitively dated to the Babylonian campaigns of 586. And by the way, this is when Jerusalem was destroyed, not 607. In these letters, we find Hebrew vocabulary and syntax that is similar to that of the book of Jeremiah. Archaeologists have found 91 ostraca at Arad. These are hard to date by stratigraphy because of the faulty excavation and recording methods in the time of their discovery. However, revised stratigraphy and paleography, or ancient writing, seems to indicate a date in the 7th to early 6th century. Although we cannot assign any literary style because the letters involved commands and record keeping, they do paint a picture of how common letters and record keeping were at the end of the monarchy. The body of written material from this time contains many stamp seals and bulli. In this context, bulli are seals attached to an official document. The prominence of these seals suggests that while literacy was widespread, so was illiteracy. Literacy was probably the purview of the rich. However, the most important documents, those that comprise the Hebrew Bible, we do not have. That is, we don't have the originals. All we have are copies of copies. By the 7th century, the J and E traditions were written down, drawing on oral traditions that were much older. I will get to the J and E traditions later. By this time, the Deuteronomistic history, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Samuel, and Kings, did exist. What we now know as the Book of Deuteronomy was claimed to have been found during temple renovations in Josiah's time. No, I said claimed to have been found. I do not think it was found. I think it was made up. The reason that I think this is because, first of all, the Jerusalem temple was in ruins. And it is hard for me to believe that nobody in all that time went into the ruins. The second reason I believe it is because something that important has to have more than one copy. Please bear in mind that this is just my opinion, but there are some scholars that do agree with me, not with my reasoning for drawing my conclusion, but with the conclusion itself. It supposedly preserved the Mosaic reforms and then included a narrative that supposedly recounted Israelite history from Sinai to when Jerusalem fell. It is important to note that the oldest texts we have are the Dead Sea Scroll fragments dating to the Roman period. Art was rare in ancient Israel, especially in the 7th century in Judah. The 8th century saw at least some iconographic motifs on seals, greatly diminished in the 7th century. Many seals from this time bear only Hebrew names. However, we still find within Judah Egyptian and Phoenician iconography, including religious iconography. These seals are made locally and indicate syncretism that relates Yahweh to other deities. Remember, syncretism is basically the blending of religious traditions. A number of finds sheds light on the Judahite cult. Both the Dan and Arad sacred precincts had fallen into disuse by this time, but finds indicate that the Jerusalem temple may still have been used until its destruction in 587-586 BCE, not 607. Cave 1 near Temple Mount appears to be a local shrine or a repository of discarded cult items. Kenyon found more than 70 figures, both female and zoomorphic in nature. If you have forgotten about zoomorphic, it just means animal-like. He also found animal bones, but no human bones. This cave has been classified as a cult place, taken to be an installation for families, a shrine for the dead, or a storehouse for cult items. Both caves 1 and 2 flourished in the late 7th century, just south of Temple Mount, supposedly during Josiah's reforms. The female figurines are significant, since these most likely represent Asherah, the goddess. Her cult was specifically targeted by these reforms. These female figurines are an important window into Judah at this time, since they are distinctly Judahite in nature. Many scholars now view these female figurines as images of Asherah herself and not as votives, as some have previously surmised. In addition, votives would have been personalized, while these were mass-produced. We have fairly solid evidence for this conclusion. In Khirbet el-Kam and Kuntalet Asherah, we find inscriptions dating to the 8th century that reads, Yahweh and his Asherah. The context is that of a blessing. Although grammatical objections have been made, consensus has been moving toward the reading of Asherah as the personal name of the goddess, not her cult object, that of a pole. Whether or not this is the case, the symbol would have had no meaning had it not pointed to the goddess herself. Seals and seal impressions also convey religious beliefs, particularly in Judah. They've been studied in detail, and several conclusions can be drawn. By the 7th century in Judah, nearly all symbols had disappeared. Mostly, we only find writing on these seals. Of the seals that we can demonstrate are Hebrew, overwhelmingly, the personal names on these seals are Yahwistic in nature. Seals that do not contain personal names but specify some activity are largely concerned with mercy, justice, protection, and blessings from Yahweh, one's familial connection with Yahweh, and the praise of Yahweh. Well, friends, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, press the subscribe button. And if you want to know when I come out with new content, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. All social media links are in the description, as well as my Teespring store and my website. Please visit my Teespring store and consider becoming a patron. Also, please leave comments in the comment section. Not only do I love hearing from you, but it also triggers the YouTube algorithm. If you have any suggestions or requests, you may leave those down there as well. Keep learning and searching for truth. Here are a few videos from my library. If you have not watched them, go ahead and watch them and tell me what you think. Until next time, friends, stay safe and goodbye. Wash those hands and wear a mask out in public.